Today is April the 6th, 2025. My name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be your host and moderator for this afternoon. I invite anyone that you care about to this discussion. You can go ahead and just send them a link, the Zoom information, the same information that you were given, forward it to them and tell them that they would be wise to come and listen into this discussion this afternoon. If you're joining us right now on YouTube, thank you very much for being here because we're live streaming on YouTube right now. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to share the link with someone that you care about. And even if they don't get the entire program, they can always just kind of back it up. And don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to the program because it sends a message to YouTube that this information is of some value. So before we get started here, we do have some basic housekeeping rules that we have to do. We have to remind you that the FDA has not evaluated these statements. And when you hear testimonials like the one that I'm about to share with you right now, you have to understand that they're purely anecdotal. That means results are atypical. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So neither the Healthcare Support Association of America, Engage Global, Dr. Prasad, Jonathan Jones, or any of the authorized representatives are making claims that any supplements that we recommend will treat or cure any disease state. So this presentation is for information and educational purposes solamente, only. It is not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your doctor. So we strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. And please don't do anything I say just because I say it. I'm not a doctor, I'm a researcher. And the information that I present has been carefully researched, and I guarantee you, 100% guarantee you this, that what you learn today can be taken into consideration when making decisions about what actions you will take with regard to your health and well-being. That is 100% a guarantee. So please do that. Take that into consideration. Seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. So what exactly is stress? And these first two slides are really important. I want to cover these first two slides first, then share with you one testimonial, one story that to me well illustrates what kind of things people can be experiencing in their life as it relates to stress. So what exactly is stress? The definition is defined as the body's response to any demand or challenge. The body's response, not your response, the body's response to any demand or challenge. While short-term stress can be useful in survival situations, chronic stress disrupts nearly every system in the body. Now, I like the way it says there that in survival situations, the body's response can be very, very useful. I remember reading about a real life story of a woman who fell quite a distance, and the distance was so extreme that she snapped her femur in half. But she felt no pain. She looked down and she saw that was the situation, and there was no one anywhere nearby in contact. In fact, this was featured on one of those documentaries on television. This goes back about 15 years or so. But she was clearly aware of what was wrong. She could see it, but her brain had disconnected the pain receptor, so she did not feel what happened because her brain, her body, evidently was clearly aware that she was in a life or death situation. So it took over. So she kind of, bound herself together and was able to cover a distance. It was some ridiculous amount of distance, a mile or two or whatever, to get to a point where she could get, a cell phone signal or something, and was able to get some help. And the moment that the rescue helicopter came and she was positioned on the stretcher or the thing that transported her to the helicopter, then the brain shut down and all of the pain came rushing through. I think she passed out or something, but her body kept her able to deal with the situation so that she could survive. And there are so many more stories like that. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about this. That's not what this presentation is here today. The rest of the definition is what we're focusing our attention on. Because you see what it says there? Chronic stress disrupts nearly every system in the body. This includes the nervous system, the endocrine system, the immune system, and the digestive system. Having those systems disrupted, there's nothing good about that at all. Nothing good about that at all. In fact, you know what? Yeah, we can cover this one. In 2024, 43% of US adults reported feeling more anxious than the previous year. And that was up from 37% in 2023 and up from 32% in 2022. 43%. So if you were looking at that on a graph, on a chart, you'd see the incline would be going up. So we're heading toward 50%. And this is 2024. So these are recent statistics. This is according to the CDC. 43%. As of August 2024, 31% of all adults worldwide identified stress as the biggest health problem in their country, marking the highest percentage in recent years. It'd be okay if stress was just a thing. You just take a nap and everything would be fine, but it isn't, because the truth of the matter is it goes far worse than that, because the body can only take so much. And we'll talk about the impact of this in just a moment. So I'd like to share this one story before we really go on. And this first one was shared with us, I forget how many years back it goes, just a couple of years actually. Freddie Ivory. She describes her body dealing with severe anxiety disorder.
Can you hear me good? Because I'm having trouble again with my internet.
Let's make sure it's loud enough for you.
Okay, good. Okay. For years, I've suffered with anxiety and disorder, anxiety and depression disorder. I extended from my childhood, it seems, and got worse. But at some point in 1992, it got so bad that I was diagnosed, went to the doctor and was diagnosed with major depression at that time, because I was also suicidal. And of course, I've been on many medications for that. And I'd get a little better and then I get worse, get better and get worse. But of course, life happened. I think one of the things that really affected me, I lost a baby girl to cancer. And so I went through the radiation and chemotherapy and all of that with her. And then just things in life. So it just got progressively worse. And I had to be hospitalized several times because of it, because I was suicidal. And eventually, of course, I was taking therapy, but I got into an intensive therapy program. And with that one, I learned to manage my anxiety and depression, but they also changed my diagnosis to a bipolar 2. The difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 is that with bipolar 1, people have manics. They're up, they'll go low and then they'll go real high and real high. In my instance, I have bipolar 2. I go high seldom and I don't go real high, but I stay low. I go low and I will stay low. I have been in a low for as long as a year. That means I did not leave my house, did not leave my room for a year, no more than to, go to the kitchen and eat and go to the bathroom. So I'm saying all that to say that it was really bad. In September of 2022, my anxiety level was bad. Depression was bad. I had gone into a low. And then I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. Well, as you all know, or some of you may not know, that I was introduced to Dr. Prasad's products. And I started using the EMF, the methylated formula, brain boost, and probiotic. and they helped tremendously with my heart issue. They also calmed my anxiety quite a bit. But then I knew from reading and also from the way that I was feeling that I had to be on the CBD. So I ordered the CBD and start using it. I feel a calmness now in my life that I haven't felt in years. I was the kind of person that I thought I was hot-tempered because I could go off like that about something. Well, it turns out that it was anxiety, high anxiety levels. I didn't know how to manage my feelings. And I've changed from that since I've been using the products and introduced the CBD. I'm much calmer. I have had things to happen since I've been using the products that would have sent me into a rage or something. I don't know, whatever that is. Any of you out there that suffer from anxiety, you know what I'm talking about. This is no joke. It completely changes your life. Matter of fact, I can look at people and tell a lot of times those who suffer from anxiety and those who think they suffer from anxiety. It's a completely different thing. But taking the CBD has really made a change in my life. I want to thank Dr. Prasad for his formulas. They are amazing. I have been on, you name the medication, I've probably been on it. And I'm not on any medications now other than—
Well, for the record, my name is Jonathan.
I'm not on any medications. Really, I'm not on any medications. I take Dr. Prasad's products and I take my CBD. And I just took a CBD because I was trying to prepare for this, to give this testimonial, right? And I start to shake. You know, I have tremors. It was so bad at one time that the food would just jump and I couldn't hardly hold my plate because it would jump. But I felt it. I knew it was going to happen but guess what? I told my husband, where's my CBD? So here it is. I just swallowed a pill just before I turned this camera on. It is an amazing product. If you know of anybody that have anxiety, I'm not talking about just nervousness. I'm talking about something that takes over your life. And it has taken over my life for, I would imagine 50 years, really, because there were times that I didn't know what it was. But I feel a calmness now. The only one thing left, and it's happening, I do go on those lows and I suffer from agoraphobia, which is sometimes connected with that, which means that I won't leave my house. So I haven't left my house for months, right? But I'm getting there. Well, I take that back. I did go maybe 2 times out. And the one time I went out, I had a car accident. Man, I went out that day and I tore up 2 cars. 3 cars, hit 3 cars. I didn't tell them, but I hit 3 cars in one day. And I was like, where is my CBD, right? And it helped calm me down. I didn't have a panic attack and I didn't come home and have to get in the bed and stay in the bed, cover my head up for days, people, for days. I haven't done that. I haven't done that. I sleep like normal people. I can't even tell you how that is. Like, it's like so wonderful. I take my green formula at night just before I lay on the bed, the original, before I lay my head down. I sleep nights. I used to didn't sleep nights. I'd sleep during the day, but it wasn't a restful sleep, but I didn't sleep nights. The thoughts in my head were just constant. I always tell people it's like somebody take a snow globe, shake it up, and that's the way it's in there. It never settles, but it's settled since I've been taking the CBD. So yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. And thank you, Dr. Prasad.
Okay, well, that's one of the stories that we wanted to to share with you guys, knowing that it just to illustrate again just how real this problem is. It is not just, as she mentioned, when it comes to dealing with stress. it won't necessarily just be the kind of situation where a person is just having a bad day. There are some people who their lives are completely disrupted and derailed because of stress. So in her case, happy to see that she got great results with Dr. Prasad's products and Dr. Prasad's formula. And she's not the only one. We'll tell you about another one in just a couple of minutes. But just to follow through a little bit here on our slides before we jump into another amazing testimonial again of Dr. Prasad's problems. Look at what we're talking about again. We said 31% of adults worldwide identify stress as the biggest health problem in their country. And that's marking the highest percentage in recent years. That's 2024. Here we are in 2025. I have a question. Raise your hand, your digital hand right now, if you have any reasons right now for stress. And if you think the number of people experiencing stress is going to go up, raise your digital hand if you're in that category. Is there any reason right now? Because we're not talking again about a moment in time. We're talking about chronic stress. During the pandemic, everybody was in chronic stress. The isolation was causing massive amount of stress. Remember, isolation is a form of torture. And that's what people were experiencing during the pandemic. So what takes people to the breaking point, and this is where stress can do harm, is when they reach a breaking point. And then you see the chain there that it's the weakest link that will go. It was a study conducted that indicated that heavy stress can shorten life expectancy by 2.8 years in 30-year-old men and by 2.3 years in women of the same age. It's interesting that right now, the number of people with heart problems is going up, and the age where these heart problems is manifesting is going down. They're finding teenagers now that are dropping dead or being diagnosed with previously undiagnosed heart issues. And that's real. That's starting to happen now. So stress is real. 18.2% of adults experience symptoms of anxiety. 21% of the experienced symptoms of depression in the past 2 weeks of that was during 2022. Adolescents, statistics there, as you mentioned, a high percentage of those are dealing with problems also. The impact of this is that it's estimated that 12 billion working days are lost. That's turning into $1 trillion per year in lost productivity. That number, just oddly enough, is not seeming to be such a major deal right now, because the thing that's stressing a lot of people out is where we're seeing it in the news, where $6 trillion has been wiped out of the stock market in just a few days, according to some reports, news reports that I'm seeing. And for a lot of people, that's a massive, massive, massive loss. Retirements, their way of life, and everything they've been building has been erased. And look at the last bullet point there. And this is where it really breaks home, or strikes home. In the US workplace, stress contributes to approximately 120,000 deaths annually. And that's resulted in $300 billion in lost productivity. But it's that 120,000 deaths a year that is connected to stress. Now, this is where I've got some comments from Dr. Prasad that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. But look at what happens when the body goes into this fight or flight syndrome. And when we discuss this again in a couple of weeks, we'll get him to really drill down on some of this. But the brain starts to have problems. Stress hormones are released. Adrenal glands are impacted. And because remember earlier we were talking about every system in the body is impacted by this chronic stress. It affects muscles. It affects digestion. It affects breathing. It affects the heart. Everything is impacted when the body goes into this fight or flight response mechanism, where the body, of course, is trying to protect you from whatever it is that you are experiencing in that moment of time. So Let's see if I can share with you here some of Dr. Prasad's comments. So give me a second here. So Dr. Prasad, welcome, sir. Welcome. And we thank you very much once again for joining us in our discussion. We cannot express our appreciation enough to you for what you've done and what you bring to our lives. And what about this Sharon here, sir? Tell us your comments on what happened to Sharon in her life here.
Thank you, Jonathan. I always enjoy being with you and our engaged family members. And it is very interesting that stress also leads to anxiety, depression, and sleeping disturbance, and so many things that you showed. So before you address that, you have to know why it happens. What are the basic, we know external factor, like sadness, family issue, but all these external factor causes. But what happens in your body inside that leads to the development of stress, anxiety, depression, and so on? What leads to? Well, I was doing this morning some research. I was surprised to find out that actually increased oxidative stress initiate the development of a stress and also anxiety, which causes anxiety and depression and rest of them. So, and then if you have why increase oxidative stress? Many people are taking diet which are deficiency in micronutrient like A, C, B, E, and all the nutrient deficiency. So their body level increases oxidative stress. When oxidative stress occurs, then you have also neuroinflammation in the brain. And when that happens, then that affects both oxidative stress and neuroinflammation, affects many biochemical factors in the going on. For example, they will have a decline level of serotonin. Then they will also have the impaired function of plasticity, neuron plasticity. Also neurogenesis, the formation of new neuron gets impaired. So all these factors contributes to the development of a stress and so So the question, so this is very important. Increase oxidative stress and inflammation. You have to take care of that. Second thing that we found out, which was surprising, was even in this people who are suffering from this one, intestinal dysbiosis has been also observed. So now you have this one. And so then question is, you have these things, that what you do? Well, we know that to decrease oxidative stress and inflammation, if you take micro daily EMF, either capsule or hydroform, that would be very useful to reduce the oxidative stress and inflammation.
Right.
Then what you say? Then what you do to correct the intestinal dysbiosis? Well, we have a probiotics with prebiotics. You can do that one, so that will be very helpful as well. And then what happens that you have decreased serotonin level, because all these factors are not going to do anything to your serotonin, which is very important as well. This will help, but not fully. You have to also increase the serotonin level. So current treatment of antidepressant agent, there are many, but all of them have a common mechanism, namely they act as an inhibitor of serotonin reuptake. So serotonin does not get inside the cell and get destroyed, so they prevent it, serotonin. And so so antidepressant agent like Prozac or some Zoloft, all these things there are 10 different medications which does exactly the same thing, but each of them had toxicity. But here comes the CBD. CBD, as you know, has been approved by the FDA for certain for children in have seizures, and this is very important. The CBD is the only agent that also acts as an inhibitor of serotonin reuptake. In other words, it acts like an antidepressant medication that FDA has approved it.
Wow.
But this one is well known. And so that's why Sharon, when I was talking about serotonin, this in combination with some, I presume, other products she's taking, then this is very important. That's why she was feeling so good. And so now you have so not only serotonin in act as this act as a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, but it also increases the dopamine level, which makes you happy. This is one of the very important. If your dopamine is not elevated, you don't feel happy.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a double function. Not only it increases serotonin, which keeps you calm and quiet, reduce anxiety, but also makes you happy because it increases the dopamine level. And third thing, which is equally important, because it is one of the naturally occurring substances which will stimulate the endocannabinoid defense system that our body has, which has a receptors. And through the receptors, the CBD also, through the endocannabinoid receptors, inhibits the release of glutamate. And glutamate is very important for your brain function. Here is something about, let me finish this one, then I will go through this one.
Okay.
This is very important that they have it, because if you have excessive glutamate release, first, it is toxic to your nerve cell. Second, it causes hyperactivity, like you see in autism or ADHD, very hyperactive.
Oh,
and
wow.
so it is so much function of CBD is that it is important to have all this kind of combination. So at least in this scenario, we must have it. And when you take probiotics, that means intestinal health, you also have to take a digestive enzyme because that impairs when you have a bad stomach, you have a digestive enzyme. So for the benefit, I would recommend that take macro daily, EMF1, probiotics with prebiotics that we have, digestive enzyme, and CBD. These
Wow.
three are a must. And then, for example, people there is no direct benefit of collagen peptides, but most of the people, if you are older people, we want to be young, so it does not interfere. So if you take a collagen peptide because you want to look young, and there are many benefits that we have discussed in the past, so it will be okay, but not for this specific purpose.
Right. So Dr. Prasad, are you saying then that when you hear Sharon, it doesn't surprise you at all?
No,
She got
I'm
the
happy
kind of benefits
that
because
this
it
is
blows
what
our mind. I mean, it makes us, we can't even hardly believe that CBD would have that kind of an effect on a
No,
person.
I'm happy to hear the benefit because sometimes you see the prediction,
Right.
but prediction comes true, then you are extremely happy.
Right.
I mean, I would have said that it will happen, but I don't know whether it will happen, for example.
Well, it happened. And
And
she's not the
when
only
it
one.
happens, it amuses me. So let us know something about CBD that people may not know about it.
I think folks need to hear what you got to say about what CBD does and why it's possible that it could have a benefit to any one of all of us.
Yes, exactly. And the CBD is one of the cannabinoids. There are many cannabinoids, which is one of them, and it is in the hemp. Hemp plant is a cousin of sativa, stevia, which has produced THC as well. But in this, unlike other cousin, hemp plant has only 0.3% THC, whereas marijuana plant has a 20% THC. And
That's
so,
a big difference.
Yeah, it is much easier to isolate from a hemp plant because the chances of once you purify it, coming THC is very small. And as you know, THC is very addictive and can damage your brain if you take it over a long time.
Yep, understood.
And as you know that in our body, we have two highly evolved protective mechanisms against all kind of a stressor. If we know antioxidant, we know that antioxidant defense system has a antioxidant compound and antioxidant enzymes. Then we have endocannabinoid system, and endocannabinoid system. This is very interesting that the discovery of endocannabinoid system, even though it was present for millions of years, but it was never discovered. It was long after antioxidant discovered. And so it was only in 1992 that endocannabinoid defense system was discovered. Can you believe that?
Yeah, well, none of
So
us,
we were focusing on antioxidant defense system.
we never heard anything about it in school. It
No,
was
no,
never
I
even
never
discussed.
either. I never
Yeah.
either. But you know why it happens accidentally? This is what happened in research. While they were investigating about the effect of marijuana,
Mm-hmm.
somebody said, in the brain, looks like something else is going on. And then they started dividing. Oh, they discovered anandamide and then and the 2-AG, and you will see that all those things receptor so discovered. But it started while they were investigating the effect of marijuana plant. If there were
Wow.
no marijuana plant study, there won't be any endocannabinoid system discovered. So we
Wow.
are very thankful to marijuana plant that while we were
Exposed us to
studying
this.
the
Yeah.
mechanism, how it was working, by chance we discovered this endocannabinoid system.
That's amazing.
There is endocannabinoid system to a small molecule and anandamide. Anandamide is in a Sanskrit means you are very happy. Anandamide in Ayurvedic medicine they have used this kind of molecules. And 2-AG, I can't pronounce that, 2-archodonylglycerol. So these are two main that stimulates the receptors. And then you have the two endocannabinoid receptor, CB1, CB2. Then there are all these things. They are synthesizing enzyme, they are degradative enzyme. And as I said that, but somebody has to stimulate them. And in this case, the endocannabinoid system is there at low level, but you stimulate them, then they become more active, more protective. So CBD is the only safe agent and enhance the level of anandamide and 2-AG. Until you increase these two molecules, they cannot act on the receptor. They all go through this endocannabinoid receptor, CB1 and CB2. But good news is that also CBD acts directly. One way to act is via endocannabinoid system. The second way it acts directly, stimulates the receptor for serotonin. So you have more serotonin in the body, in the cell. And also it increases directly the level of dopamine. It is a partial agonist of dopamine receptor. So you have increased dopamine, so you feel happy. So that's very interesting.
And that's just from CBD by itself. It's just amazing that all this activity is taking place. And this is all
Yeah,
neurons
right. You can see
looking
that.
at here. So this
Yeah.
illustration is, and none of us were ever exposed to this pretty much in school. We're learning about it from Professor Prasad. So you all
Yeah.
need to be thankful that
And
that
you
we're
can
getting
see
this
that they have
class.
also the GABA, and you want
Yes.
to GABA inhibitor so that you are
Yeah.
calm and quiet. But if you don't, so this is very important. They increases the production of GABA amino acid.
Yeah,
So GABA
anything
is
that
a-
attaches to that GABA receptor, that's where tranquilizers go, right?
Yeah. So you can see that
That produce that calming
receptor.
effect.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's why you feel calm and quiet. In
Yeah.
one hand, you have increase in the production of serotonin, and other you have increase in the production of inhibitory molecules, GABA. And that's why you feel
Incredible.
so calm and quiet.
Incredible. Okay. And so this is good. The inflammatory components
Yeah.
here is still
And CBD also does these inflammatory and protects against inflammatory and oxidative damage, but it is a weak one. It is not like our antioxidant enzyme or these things, but it also participates by different mechanism, decrease the oxidative stress and inflammation. So a combination with our microdaily EMF and CBD would be much better in not only in improving the symptoms of anxiety and depression and stress, but also enhancing the effect of the EMF.
Wow.
You can see that CBD prevents the release of glutamate during acute neurological disease and
Right.
progression of neurodegenerative diseases. So it is very, CBD is extremely important, but also don't forget the oxidative stress, microarray EMF, and intestinal dysbiosis. And we call it intestinal dysbiosis because the composition of the bacteria increases in favor of toxic bacteria.
Mhm.
Normally, we have beneficial bacteria.
Right.
But
Right.
when that shift occurs because of a stress, because of whatever reasons are, it is almost every disease that you can think of.
Mhm.
Intestinal dysbiosis occurs. But
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there, folks. I wanted to just get those comments from Dr. Prasad. We had this discussion about a year ago, and where he just, as you could see, just blew our mind with this. But I want to share with you the story that he really was commenting on. And the story that he was commenting on was Sharon Witherspoon. And so before we, wrap up our discussion, in fact, we may get a chance to just either take some of your questions or get a few additional comments from some of our leaders here, like Jeff, with respect to the benefits of this, the value of the CBD as an isolate, and why it is so unique, in particular, as compared to any other CBD out there on the market. But let's get this story here from Sharon Witherspoon, because this is the one that Dr. Prasad almost brought Dr. Prasad to tears. It was pretty remarkable, because you heard Freddie Ivory's story and her experience with severe anxiety disorder that led to depression. Now hear Sharon Witherspoon's story. Well, we got one more testimonial we wanted to share with you.
sure. Here is Sharon. Hi.
Hi, Dr. Prasad and Jonathan. I wanted to say that, a lot of times people feel like, young people don't go through a lot, but I did. In my early 20s, I used to have severe pain, and I almost lost one of my two children. Or they wanted to deliver her like 5 months early because I was in so much pain, but didn't know why I was in a lot of pain. And I was diagnosed with severe endometriosis. I had chronic pain day in, day out, and not natural bleeding that women go through. And I was also diagnosed with osteoarthritis. I had it really bad in my neck and my spine, and it crippled me. I was feeling like I've been electrocuted. Shocks just would go down my neck and back, and I couldn't move. And it would come out of nowhere at any given time, no matter where I was at. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I had those, oh my God, from head to toe, I was in pain. Rheumatoid arthritis. And I developed PTSD when I used to live in Houston, Texas. I was coming home one day from work, and like they got kidnapped, human trafficking. And from there, I developed what Freddie mentioned, agoraphobia, a fear or a form of anxiety. I didn't want to leave my home because I was afraid of that happening again. And I was placed on several different medications for anxiety, depression, insomnia, because I couldn't sleep. Like Freddie, just thoughts just running through my mind, fear, worries, day in and day out. And I just needed help. And I was telling my whole family, I have a large family, seven sisters and 5 brothers. And my brother Alex and the rest of my family was encouraging me to continue to pray and try to look for things, and they would be looking for things. And I never forgot the scripture that I read. In fact, I read it this morning, 1 John 5:14-15. It tells us, if you ask Almighty God, whatever you ask him, he hears you. And if your prayers are in harmony with his will, he will answer you. And so I continued to pray and ask for help, because I was in the bed all the time, constantly in a lot of pain and hurting. And
I just didn't have quality of life. And I was young, and in my 20s on up until now, I had continued to hurt. And so finally, when my brother discovered Dr. Prasad's products, he told me about it. I got on them. And I tell you, they work. When I got on the CBD, because I read what it's for anxiety, it's for insomnia, pain, depression. And those are things that I had, and I needed that. And so when I got on them, that's what I felt gave me my life back, because even today, I haven't even taken none of my products, including my CBD. And
Wow.
normally when it rains, because it's been raining all here all day today, either the day before, I start hurting so bad, head to toe, but no pain. And it's raining outside, no pain. Oh my God, I just was so happy that
Wow.
I'm not hurting head to toe. And I tell anybody, you know, these products are the real deal. They really work. And Dr. Prasad, I just wanted to tell you, there's some words to a song that say, if you say my eyes are beautiful, it's because I'm looking at you. The world is looking at you, Dr. Prasad, and you are beautiful to us. We thank you for all the products, because they really, really help. I went through so much in my life, losing a lot of family members. I lost my husband, my parents, and 3 of my siblings, several of them due to cancer. And that took me for a loop. And I'll tell you one thing, being on the CBD and increasing it and all, it helped me, because I've been driving since I was 15 years old. And I was not, the last 8-9 years, I haven't been able to go outside and get in my car and drive my own car. And just last week, I went to get in my car. My brother came and gave me a jump, because I don't go many places. And he gave me a jump. He said, come on, let's go around the block. And normally if I drive out of, you know, the neighborhood I live in, that's when my anxiety come on. And it's so bad. It makes like I'm about to have a heart attack, and I go to shaking and sweating and going on. But I noticed that that didn't happen. I drove out of my neighborhood, drove several blocks down the street, and I just tears just swelled up in my eyes, because I realized that this CBD is really working for me, and I might get my life back and be able to drive and be independent. You don't know how it feels to be independent and be able to get in your car and go wherever you want to go and not have, you know, that hindrance, and to be able to get out your bed and want to be around people. I didn't want to be around people. I just wanted to stay in my house, perfectly happy staying in my house. But if I had to go anywhere, I had anxiety attack because of having to go outside of my house. But I noticed it's getting so much better, and I'm starting to have better quality of life. So I just want to thank you, Dr. Prasad, and I love you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh my goodness, Dr. So I'm going to stop it there, because I think it makes the point, and I think you guys I think you get the point. You know, Dr. Prasad had a few comments afterwards, and he was quite choked up in expressing himself and explaining to us what Sharon Witherspoon was experiencing. So a lot of the comments that you just heard were made after he heard Sharon Witherspoon's story. So what's the point of all this? It's told you before, testimonials are purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So we are not making any medical claims. We're not claiming that Micro Daily or CBD Boost or anything else is going to treat, heal, or cure any disease state. So this is for information and educational purposes only. So we definitely strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. But this is the gentleman that formulated these products, and they are different. They're unique. They're not just the same run-of-the-mill products. You can go in and buy yourself a collagen off the shelf. It will not work the way this man's formula will. You can buy CBD, maybe even for less money. It will not work the same way that Dr. Prasad's for. Micro Daily, Micronutrients, nothing will work the same as this man's formula because of his credentials that you can see on the screen right there. He's forgotten more than most of us know. This is just a snapshot of some of the books that Dr. Prasad has written, and he has been published nearly 350 times, something like that, nearly 300 times, I think it is, and some 450 references to his published work is also referenced in the official Library of Medical Documents in the United States Archives of Medical Publications. This is the one Dr. Prasad formulated, this CBD Boost. It's not just CBD. It's not a full spectrum CBD. It's a CBD isolate. So that means only the absolute best and most significant part of the CBD has been provided here. There's nothing else in there. There is not even a trace of THC in Dr. Prasad form. So this is more like a concentrate, and that's why it works so well. That's why Sharon got the results she did, and that's why Freddie, that we talked to earlier, got the results that she did. So highly recommend this, and whoever invited you to this discussion, they can point you to this one, and you will find out that it works differently. In both cases, some of them said that their condition was so severe that they were taking at times as much as 6 of them at a time. But when you have that level of anxiety, you'll take whatever you need to, especially if it's something that has no side effects whatsoever. And Dr. Prasad indicated that this is FDA approved for children when they're being treated for things like seizures. How much? Up to 750 milligrams has been approved for children. So there's no toxic level of this. That bottle right there is 1,500 milligrams. So that means up to half this bottle at one time for a child has been approved by the FDA specifically for things like seizures. So you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with this one. It's just a beautiful thing. I just love it. I take 2 of them every night, by the way. It helps me to really go into REM sleep, and I sleep deeper and longer. This is the microdaily EMF that Dr. Prasad made reference to earlier. Very simple. It's powerful. It does what it does. He originally formulated this for the military, and the military was very happy with it. There's all kinds of clinical studies that have been done on it, proving its efficacy. You look at the ingredients panel, and it just looks like another multivitamin. But trust me when I tell you that it's far more than that. It also raises lymphocytic glutathione levels, and glutathione is the body's own master antioxidant. This helps the body deal with not just stress, but the oxidative stress that happens because of stress. Remember, every system in the body is impacted by stress. Microdaily, CBD Boost, and this one he also mentioned, the probiotic boost, because of intestinal dysbiosis. Those 3 in particular will help a person deal with anxiety like nothing else out there, with no downside. There's no side effects to it. Dr. Prasad has put together many other formulas. Omega-3 daily is part of his arsenal. There's collagen daily, phenomenal. This one is very much different because not only does it have the hyaluronic acid, it also has enzyme inhibitors. In fact, there's no other collagen peptide formula on the planet that has enzyme inhibitors. This one is patented, and it's unique to Dr. Prasad and Engage Global only. So here we are. Well, this slide still says National Kidney Awareness Month, but as you know, this is the Stress Awareness Month, but so you can kind of ignore that. But that's the core 4. And you can add to any of the bundles, any of the boost items, and Engage Global will give a discount for any of these additional things. It's $10, $15, and $20 respectively for discounted as you add on boost items to any of the bundles. The lowest level of bundle is the basic bundle, but the core 4 is the one that Dr. Prasad recommends in most cases. Then you can just add on any boost after that, like the CBD Boost, and it's already inexpensive, and it will be even more discounted as you add it on to one of these bundles. The cost for this bundle, if you bought each item individually, it would be $310, but when you buy it as a bundle, you'll see it's only $199.99. This is the basic bundle. So this is the cheapest thing you want to start with. If you were only looking to attack stress and anxiety, go with the basic bundle and add on the CBD Boost to this. Okay, so but get back with the person who invited you to this, and they'll help you to put together the bundle that will work best for you. We didn't talk any about weight loss, but Dr. Prasad's GLP-1 Boost also can be added to any of these bundles. And in fact, there is a specific bundle now that includes the GLP-1 Boost formula. All critical when dealing with stress, because you've ever heard the expression stress eating? Yeah. Well, and the GLP-1 Boost will also help to calm that nervous habit of stress eating as well. So there's all kinds of reasons to really take a good look at Dr. Prasad's formula. So again, you talk to the person who invited you to this. But before we wrap up our discussion, I have to just say this, and we try to emphasize this every single time. Dr. Prasad agrees with it. Please don't expect a pill, potion, or lotion to do for you what you could do for yourself. So in addition to any action that you're taking, we strongly recommend that you change your relationship with your couch. Start moving, alter your diet, eat healthier foods, along with your efforts here to take Engage Global's formulas. Diet, stress management, and controlling negativity in your life will go a long way to helping you to manage stress and to deal with it. Get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they will help you to find the package that will work the best for you. In 2 weeks, we're going to be doing part 2 of this discussion on stress, because there's a whole lot more to it. There's a whole mental health aspect of it that we didn't touch on. We focus a lot on the physical aspects of it, but we didn't really delve too much into the mental health components of this as well. So that pretty much is going to wrap up our discussion. We just reached the top of the hour, as you can see. We try our best to stick to the time, trying to have as much respect for your time as we possibly can, knowing how busy you are, and want to commend you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule to come to a discussion like this, because there's so many other things that you could have been doing on a day like today. So if Dr. Prasad is back with us in a couple of weeks, you can look forward to that.